It's happening.
This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Kristi Campbell.
Yes, you are. And I'm Melinda Smith. Hi, friend.
It has officially been a year since I got separated, which is the weirdest and yet fine feeling. But as you may recall, in the wonderful state of North Carolina, you have to be separated for a year before you can file for divorce. So by changing my name on the podcast, let's not pretend that I'm going to be super efficient and legally change my name anytime soon. But I've started making a social media change. It also is interesting to realize how many friends I have that are of only the Guzman era, right? Like how many close friends I have that I've only known then with 4 years, basically. So they didn't know me in my Campbell phase.
I didn't know you were Campbell phase.
So it's just interesting. But yep.
Oh my God. Speaking of 30s, which is, we're not in, I mean, you're in your 30s, sure, but we're not 30. I had the most weirdest mindfuck moment, and I tweeted about it, but it was like the dumbest thing, of course, but it was, so I'm watching Requiem on Netflix. It's kind of a scary show. It's so weird. And I was like, so the younger characters in it, the main characters, they're going out to, they're chatting with somebody, and he was saying his great uncle had died. And I was like, great uncle? Well, that would mean that is his dad's brother. And I was like, but that's too old. And I was like, oh my God, I'm his parents' age in this show. And I was like, oh my God, I'm an adult. I was like, because I was identifying with the young characters, and I was like, wait a minute, how could you have your great, wait. And that was that's too old. And I'm like, oh my God, because I'm the adult age. It's like,
I'm starting from the wrong number.
Holy shit, I'm the adult. Wait,
that's
what?
Hilarious. What's funny is that's such an unintentional but perfect segue to what we're going to talk about later. So
it was just, I mean, obviously I always feel younger in my head than I really am. A lot of people do, blah, blah, blah. But it was just because I was just casually, passively watching the show, and it didn't connect. And I was like, oh, well, but that makes that guy kind of really old. And I was like, wait. He's not really old. These characters are young. They're 20. So they're not your age group, Melinda.
Melinda?
What?
Do you remember in your college age when you used to go to your friend's parents' house for Thanksgiving when you couldn't get home, or you would go to adults' houses? Yeah. That were clean with nice furniture and expensive looking things.
Real dishes.
Yeah. That's the phase that I'm in, kind of, maybe almost.
Well, I posted that New York Times article on Facebook. It was this is 40. And it really articulated some of the weird things, because it says in the article, I'm the adult in the room. When someone is ooh, can someone help? That's my bracket now. Holy crap. But yeah, 40 is weird because you're not in your 30s, but there's all these life-changing things in your 30s, but you're not 50s and ooh, middle-age, getting close to retirement. You're just in this weird phase where you're the adult and your kids are doing their thing. And am I supposed to be at the peak of my career? I don't know. It's what is happening? So many transitions. I think that I even documented in this year, what do I want to be when I grow up? We'll get to that. But exactly, being the adult, it was just such a weird, it was just a weird shift, because I was that makes the person too old if these main characters are my age. Well, they're not.
And yet tonight when I was at dinner, there was a woman on her phone playing some fucking game with the sound so loud. And I wanted to be is this your first cell phone? Oh. What are you doing?
Wow, that's crazy.
Then on one hand, it makes me feel old and yet also young, right? You have those moments when you're oh no, I'm comfortable with technology. I'm totally an exennial. And then sometimes you're
I'm comfortable.
What do you mean it's
quiet?
lit?
I don't want to hear your shit ever. Above the buzz in your
stay
pocket.
Over there.
I don't even want to hear your fun custom ringtones.
I'm already over. Yeah, right. Remember when you had your Nokia phone?
Yeah. Ringtone jukebox.
Not even ringtones, but ringback tones. and you called someone and you're like, wait, why am I calling
Oh my
music?
God,
Until you figured it
ringtones.
out.
Oh, I had a girlfriend that used to do
Right?
those stupid messages. Hello? Hello? She thought
Oh,
they were so funny. And I was like, you are infuriating.
my friend that had the best message was on her answering machine on her separate home phone line was if you think you're cool, leave a message. If I think you're cool, I'll call you back. Are you kidding me right now? Okay,
Baseballs.
man, we could go down this rabbit hole for a whole long time. What have you been learning anything since we last talked, which was longer ago than we thought, but sorry if you keep up and realize we've missed a week, maybe two. I don't know. Life happens. Get over
Yeah,
it.
so it's perfect that you said that because no, yes, I do still want to talk about what I learned, but it's also actually it's maybe if I take a step out of my emotion, it's still a learning thing. So kind of back to basics. So I'm helping on um, reorganizing and lightning ready for a really mature org. So in that process, they have like 90 some profiles, like really outdated stuff. They've been through a lot of admin. So you can tell an admin came in and was like, oh, I'm going to make this better. Oh, that's too hard. Let's just move forward.
Like your first 2 weeks when you were
Yeah.
like, oh, let's change this and this and this. And then you're like, ooh, reality.
There's a lot of deprecated stuff they're not using. So kind of getting back to basics. I mean, like Googling what does a delegated admin do? What do my rights of my profiles do? I just don't do that stuff so much anymore. So it was kind of fun to get back to basics. But the learning curve I'm having now since I wrote that is, and I came to the realization when I was talking with a recruiter not too long ago. I have always said that I'm very organized, which might be the case as far as what's in my fridge. I'm obsessed about how I want my fridge to look like a showroom floor fridge. I wanted everything faced and neat and tidy, but I don't think that I like the documentation, the project management, that organization stuff. It drives me bananas to like document something out ad nauseum, but it's really required for some stuff, especially a big project like this when we're going to merge and delete things. Like they really need to know for historical data, like who's being moved where. But I got to a point where I was like, crud, I don't think can we just move forward? And that's really what we're going to do. We're going to do like future state and kind of roll it in. But I do like going back to basics, but I am really learning about me that I don't think I'm a good project manager. Like I thought, of course, I can manage any project, but like what actually comes with it, I don't think I'm good at that. I don't like it.
If only everyone could see you. Like the little head tilt that you did with that voice was just great.
Like
I can do anything
I can
I want
manage
to.
any freaking projects anytime I fucking feel like it.
It is funny because I feel like documentation is that really interesting thing that is so important and yet is annoying and we don't do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the middle of a project right now with a third party, right? And so I get what you're saying and I conceptually get what you did, but I kind of need some documentation, right? Like, so that when my QA team comes back to me and they're like, A doesn't do B, and I'm like, I think it's supposed to. So let's find out. Like I at least know more than they do about where to look for the settings, but I'm not even 100% confident in something that someone else built, even someone else I told them to build, let alone the stuff that happened before I started at this company. So, yes, I get it. And from a documentation perspective, fun segue into my thing I'm learning about, which is really getting back into learning about, which is Quip.
Ooh.
Quip be good.
Not the toothbrush?
No, that's a fun Google problem you'll have if you try and Google Quip. So to me, Quip is the love child of Slack and Google Docs, and it was purchased by Salesforce, so now it's part of Salesforce. And the other reason I think it's cool is because they're using it as a platform as well now. So,
how you mean?
So there's people like Elements Cloud and maybe TaskRay. I feel like there was like 8 initial ones that they announced at Dreamforce, which doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% reality, but that they're building like almost an app exchange for Quip. So already with Quip, part of the advantage is, like, for example, what we're using right now is a project tracker. And they've also got a Kanban board.
Kanban.
Kanban. the project tracker is kind of just your typical columns, like what it is, who owns it, start date, end date, estimated time. But you can add tables, you can add quotes, you can add code, right? So my last job, and what I hope to get to at this job, is documenting our org through Quip. So it's just like Google Docs, right? It's living documents, but it's also got the advantage of having the conversation on the side. So I've actually got a partner that's running our implementation through Quip, right? So we kind of have a folder of our MVP for this deliverable that they owe us, and then we make comments in it until we agree. And then we have a document about UAT, and that way I can @mention people and they can respond parts or in the conversation. We can add screenshots, blah, blah, blah. You can make checklists or numbered lists or bulleted lists, blah, blah. So it's a slippery slope because as we've discussed, I'm ADHD, and so there is a lot going on with it, right? So it's definitely something you kind of got to manage.
I really
but
love
it's
it.
been helpful for us to keep us on the same page. Taking meeting notes in there, like we're all taking notes in the same place, or at least I have a reference to go back to. It's also really cool because this is turning really salesy sort of, but like you can use Salesforce reports in Quip. So like, let's say you had a list of all your cases that you're working on as an admin or whatever object you use, like cases, tickets, whatever. If you have a report, it's kind of like a table. You can make comments in line or even about opportunities, right? Your weekly sales call. And then even if that record leaves the report, your comments are still in the running conversation history about that deal. So it's one more system to manage, right? So it's kind of tough. Like I say, we started using it to collaborate on this project. And it is, we've got ServiceNow, we've got stuff in spreadsheets, we've got like all over the place kind of stuff. But ideally, if we had started with this, then it's one place that people put the stuff.
I live and die by it for witness success.
So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah? How did you get access to Quip for witness success?
I think we all use it out of our MVP.
I mean, it's free.
Accessibility.
Oh,
yeah, it's
I'll be fancy. I like it.
It's a game changer. Like I honestly can say I don't get into the Google Drive as much as I used to, like last year. When you first start using it, you don't know. I mean, we still have some links to some things, but it's like for like maybe housing documents or bios or headshots. But I mean,
right? It's
perfect.
Interesting. Out of curiosity, do you have an org that you use to manage anything?
I mean, we use a dev org for sponsors, but I forget about it. It's not. I mean, Kyla and I you've been using it for sponsors, and I need to get in and update it. But then we've been keeping like brought on sponsorships in Quip, so really it's supposed to go in there to figure out like who needs to be given this money or like who needs to be having a conversation with. Kyla's really the head lead there when it comes to sponsorships. She's really good at it.
You got to separate the responsibilities, otherwise you'll go cray.
Bananas. All right, so
speaking of bananas, how was Barcelona? Barcelona bananas.
It is Barcelona, muchas gracias, which is 100% how they say things. But at first you kind of feel like they may be teasing you, like, are you? But no, it's beautiful. People were so warm. The Dream Ole was freaking amazing. Like it was really cool. And because of Dream Ole, we're bringing on a cool app to use for witness success because they had a really cool app. It's going to be amazing. So the funny thing too, I'll jump into that part first, but my co-lead for the session had 2 canceled flights and a mechanical error or failure. So he landed 2 hours before we start speaking. So like talk about like jet lag and then jumping into a session. He did freaking awesome. It just was like, you could tell that look in his eye was like, where am I? What's happening? And then a happy hour and got to spend some time with Carrie Townsend and Joshua Hoskins, who fell in love with my husband because he has this like love of aviation and, my sweetie, like you have to go out of your way not to love him. and Holly and her husband, and it was just such an amazing time. We did exactly what I wanted to do, which was eat, sleep, drink, and be merry. We walked around, saw the architecture, saw the cool fountains, just hung like were around the people. Josh did the gondola while I was at the conference, but as soon as happy hour, he came and
Mm-hmm.
played. And I know that he gets along in any atmosphere, but I haven't really gotten him to come play like at a Salesforce event. And it's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I'm like, I want you to come all the time. Like it's just, I don't know, it's kind of more fun with your playmate, you know? And he's easy to get along with.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you met Mr. Holly? That's fun. I
yeah,
didn't
had
know
a
that.
great time. Eric, he was a blasty blast. We all went to dinner. We went dancing one night and just walked around and had drinks. And um, I mean, we drank beautiful Spanish wine and napped till noon, got up, had a late lunch, and took another nap because that's what you do there. It was exactly what I wanted to do. And it was 100%
Mm-hmm.
worth it. Um, I miss my kiddo as long as we've been away from her, but I mean, it wasn't like, oh my God, I miss my kid. I can't be on this trip by any means. The first night, was it the first night? First night we got in, we were crazy jet lagged and took like a 3 hour nap. And it was like, we'll go down in the history of naps. Like it was the best nap I've ever had.
The
Yeah.
nap to
Then we
end
got up
all
and dinked
naps.
around and walked to this amazing tapas place, Kimet, and walked around the city and just had beers and had fun and then sat up top on the rooftop patio, the rooftop pool, and had some more drinks and I dangled my feet in. And then he was like, I'm going to finish cigarettes. So I went back to the room and we had a really nice room. Like this hotel was so nice. I've never like stayed somewhere nice over. I mean, it's been a while since I've been overseas where I wasn't like staying with a flat with a bunch of people or a hostel. So it was like a
Right.
grown up at a hotel. But the shower was nice. So he comes back to the room and I'm in the shower because my thought process was I needed to wash my face. And it seemed really hard, like the sink action. So I was like, meh, I'll just get in the shower. So by that time, I've already
Sure.
washed and I'm sitting on the ground just enjoying because it had that dual, like that big waterfall shower head, that big, huge one. And he's like,
Mm.
what are you doing? I was like, I had to wash my face. Come in. The water's fine. And so he did. It was awesome. But I was thinking too, this trip felt different in the sense that I guess, again, I'm the adult now and it feels weird. But, the last time I spent time in Europe, I didn't have my GPS. I got like a SIM card for my phone that would work over there. Um, you either got lost or you asked directions to communicate with people. I didn't just text anyone. I would go to like a cafe and write emails out. So it was a little different in that sense, not in a bad way, but odd. I mean, like having a hotel and it was, I think, I don't want to say it like took away from the experience, but it was definitely a lot less
Mm.
like, oh, I'm in another country. I mean, I still had my creature comforts. I had my GPS. I had my phone. So that was just a little bit different. Like you didn't feel as far removed, which is probably fine at this juncture in my life, especially with the kiddo. But it's different to
Right.
feel like you were just getting lost in the city. Instead, it was, I know how I can get back. If not, I'll turn my Google Maps on.
Right. Yeah, I can see like we've probably talked about that's why cruising like we used to do because my ex like that was the way to get him to disconnect was to
That's
like
true.
literally have no cell phone service, so it's sometimes it's easy to stay connected, which like you say isn't always a bad thing depending on what you're trying to do. For me when I was in Scotland, I got like for $10 a day or something, I
Totally.
got the
Yep.
international blah blah blah, right? And so I could look at maps, I could look up stuff to do, I could figure out where I was, right? So
I think that I like it.
I feel you.
It was different. I don't even know when it dawned on me. I know I can picture the street we were walking on though. And I was like, oh, that's why this feels different. Because it wasn't like I didn't look at any street names. I just followed my walking map kind of thing. I didn't need to find my way around because
Mm.
I didn't. And plus, this day is different. I was there 6 days as opposed to the 6 weeks that I spent in Siena. So that was
Hmm.
a little different, but
It was
it
a
was
dream,
a dream.
dare I say, an Olay.
It was a dream. Olay. The conference was really well done. Everyone was very warm. I knew a lot less people than I thought. For some reason, I don't know why I thought I would know more. I knew a lot, which was kind of cool too.
I
Yeah, so it was kind of
know
cool to
everybody,
meet new people and new, like even in like the demo jam, and like the not the demo jam, but like the sponsors area, just a bunch of new cool stuff I'd never seen. And
Oh,
um,
good.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just was kind of blown away by like how, I don't know, I just, everything was so accessible and nice, and everyone was kind. And the other thing that was kind of cool, which is was different, is Italy. A lot of Italians, they look Italian. Easy. They,
Yeah.
I try to speak Italian to them. They speak English back to me. It's a ha ha ha. In Barcelona, the Catalan was a little bit different than Spanish. It had, it has a little bit more of the like the th sound. Um, and it's such a little melting pot. Like, I don't feel like anybody looked Catalonian or anybody looked just Spanish. There was a
Mm.
dude that looked like the mountain guy, like down the street at the bar here, and I expected to be like, "Sup, dude," and he was like, "No," like totally they're from there. So I found that to be really cool about how many, it was just very culturally diverse, but many people that grew up there. So I don't know, it kind of felt a little America-esque in the sense that, so many people living there that did look like, Colorado mountain man Joe. So it was very
Right.
interesting. And, everyone, which I should be flattered, I would say, hola, or I asked for like dos for a table, and he was like, "Prr," and I was like, oh no, too much. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, I'll speak English. And I was like, well, don't apologize, because I'm the dick that only knows one language. Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous. I knew Italian much better back in the day, but I guess I found it a little flattering that people would speak Spanish back to me or Catalan, and I was like, oh, good. I don't look like I'm too misplaced here. I really enjoyed it. And, Josh and I haven't really stamped our passport since the kiddo was born. And it definitely reignited oh, yeah, every other year. Like, we need to leave the country. Like, we want to do a yearly trip in general, but like, we need to get out again. Like, I haven't, I think the last trip
Mm-hmm.
was, I was in Italy and Scotland and London in '06. And then I think it was '08 when I went to Turkey, but like, that's it. Like, that's too long. That's too long. 10 years. It's too long.
I mean, you've been busy. You you made a person that you have
Oh,
to deal with a lot. I was intrigued that you put
I
BHAG
did.
in these notes because um, I don't know if people are familiar with the big, hairy, audacious goal, but a company I was at, we had kind of a thing around it. So I was curious. It's funny because I added some BHAG ideas, but I'm curious, like, why you put that, like,
Well,
what your
to be
thought
real,
process
real,
is.
and
In our Google
I,
Doc,
I
that's
know,
not a
what are we
clip, but
doing?
maybe it should be.
Seriously, what are we doing? I don't think it would be any surprise to anybody. So any of my colleagues listening, I think, the transfer of business is happening with IBM to Blue Wolf. And
Hmm.
it's change. So there's things that I'm not digging. We're not going to be able to use collaborative documents, and we're moving to notes, or what do they call it? Verses. It's Lotus
Teams.
Notes. Let's get real. So there's been some changes that I'm
Oh,
like, is this what I want? For me personally, love my team. I love the people I work with. I love the people that report to me. I love where I'm at with the company. I like building out this hub program, this, Blue Wolf Now. I feel I'm in a really good place. And a lot of the transfer business, a lot of things that have happened haven't affected me personally. But I was starting to question, like, I don't know if I want, like, do I want to be, I never aspired to be part of a really huge company like that. I kind of liked the mid level, like kind of that staying sexy and new and technology forward, agile, saying
agile.
agile. So I started thinking, okay, then what's next? And I always have a huge goal. I usually have like post-its or a notes in my phone that's like short-term goals, like this summer I want to do, 4 paintings, or I want to get back, taking pictures again. Or and then big goals, it's like in 2 years I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I don't have those right now. And it makes me feel really vulnerable and weird. And what do I want? Like, I am appreciative and so, so grateful, but I got to where I am a little bit faster than I intended. I didn't think I'd be working from home until Olive was probably just out of grade school. I didn't think I would be consulting. I thought I
Hmm.
had a lot more years and I needed, like, put in the work, whatever that means at the time when you think that. And now I'm
Right.
like, what is my next step? And if my next step is just doing what I'm doing well and teaching and being a part of the community, okay. But I've never ever been in my place, at this place in my career or my life, that it's all good. And I actually,
You don't need to be fighting for
I don't.
more.
I don't. But then that's who I am fundamentally. So to not have this extra
Hmm.
big goal, I'm like, am I broken? Like, how do I not have a more goal? What do I want?
Hmm.
What's the carrot? What's the big, hairy, audacious goal? What do I want? I mean, you should see my to-do list. It was like, sign Ollie up for soccer. Don't forget to pick up, sesame oil at the store. Should I write a book? Maybe you should do the laundry. I was like, who throws that in their to-do list? Should I write a book?
Should I? I mean, ponder it when you look at the list,
I know.
maybe.
And I think that I keep talking about,
Except the answer is yes. Okay, bye.
I think I could. So I guess I'm feeling like, what, and it doesn't even have to be like necessarily career. Do I want to start that division of the nonprofit I loved in LA here? She has offered me to piggyback on her 501c3. Did I say that right? And open here. That's a
Hmm.
huge undertaking. I think I'd have to let go some things. I can't continue to work full time, plan a conference, user group, podcast. I'd have to give up, something would have to give if I want to do that. So I just don't know. And I feel like a dick for saying, like, I don't know, like, oh, it's such first world problems. Like, I don't know what my next goal is. Things are just so good right now. But
You know what's so funny though is that I assumed that you meant like Barcelona happened. Now what do I do next? So I started suggesting trips that we should
I saw
take.
that.
Either
Well,
like
oh, we're going to Rise
actually
next year.
doing the two. Okay, so like going to Rise next year, which kind of ties into Girl Wash Your Face and Rachel Hollis, right, in the chick site. But like I kind of want to go to one of the Down Under
Yes.
Dream-Ins in Australia. That's literally halfway across the planet. But like guess what? There's cool people there. And like you say, like so we're in kind of a weird place, right? This does not mean to sound however it's going to sound. If you hear it a wrong way, assume that's wrong and just that I don't mean
You're
that.
wrong.
But like no, yeah, exactly. But as MVPs, right, or as people in this ecosystem that get the fortunate opportunity to travel to things, I do feel like I've seen the same vendors at events. And so it's tough because for someone who lives in Atlanta and only goes to Southeast Dreamin', they don't have that problem unless we have the same vendors every year, which we haven't. I mean, we've had some repeats, but some new, right? Um, but for us, if you go to multiple events and you see the same kind of people, not that that's not great, right? But like you say, you went to one new event and you got to a different
Yeah, it was
experience.
well worth it.
And so I think it's important to do that. Even at London's Calling this year, which is crazy. That was literally like 4 months ago. Even some of the vendors that I met that were the same, I met different people from those
Hmm.
companies because they're the European
Right.
representatives, right? So it's just interesting and just different perspectives about the same things, right? So I know that that's hard to explain to people potentially, right? If they kind of don't have that same opportunity. I mean, I paid for myself to go to London, right? Like, I don't want to make it seem like, MVP gets me to fly everywhere or anything, but I would really like to go to
Yeah,
Australia
I definitely
in
talked
general,
about that.
personally, as well as to just go and see those people, right? So, or do we actually do two wit one ship in 2019 and pick a date and do it, because otherwise life gets in the way, right? It's already May and we're like, oh, I don't know when we could go until
It's so
2023, right?
true.
Like it's just easy
You just got to pull the trigger.
because I'm going to this thing and then that thing and then this thing and then Dreamforce, right? So
Yeah.
like that it happens. So it's funny that you were kind of talking. So in your topic that you wrote Barcelona and then what the hell do I do next? BHAG. And so I'm like, ooh, what's the BHAG of the next thing to do, right? So it's just funny how I misunderstood kind of what you meant. But also, what if we went to this place in Costa Rica where you get to play with like rescue dogs or something? It's on Instagram. Really, I don't think it's, I mean, I could find where it is and we could go there, but I just think it's funny that it's like, if you think I'm going to fly to Costa Rica to play with dogs, you are 100% correct. So, and just like all the places I pin on my Pinterest board of vacation
Costa Rica's
ideas,
pretty awesome.
right? Like,
I would do that.
I bet they'd have a rich coast there.
Cruises are good too. I'm down for anything. I just need to, like you said, we need to pick a day. I actually throttled back most of my travel this year because I put all my eggs in the going to Barcelona basket. And it happened. So now I'm like, all right. So I was trying to toss around Texas Dream an idea. I really like Josh to come with me because it's fun. And really, I'd just be going to see people anyways, like just to hang out. Like, let's get real. I mean, yes, I'd go and see some sessions, but I'm really just going to hang out. Yes, we need to make it happen. I don't see enough of you, quite honestly.
So I know that we've been doing this for a long time, but that's a perfect segue because we have a listener topic. And when people tell me they listen to us, it still just makes me so excited.
Oh my God, save these.
Emmy Davis from Georgia reached out to me with a really interesting quote from Glennon Doyle. And she said, "Hi, Kristi. I hear you talk about adulting on your podcast. The article below is about humaning. I think it's a great gift you and Melinda have that you generously share with your listeners," which like got me right in the feels. But It was a really interesting idea, right? That sometimes we get so focused on adulting, we forget humaning, right? And then it's got a list of things. Adulting is getting dressed, sending the mail, doing the things, right? The stuff we gotta do. But when we only adult, we forget why life is amazing. Life just becomes one long to-do list. So we got to remember, while we're adulting, to human.
Yes.
Human is pausing, hugging, laughing, crying, singing, resting, breathing, forgiving, remembering, sitting, etc. It's remembering human beings and not human doings.
Oh.
Adulting is necessary, but humaning is why we're here. And I think that's just so great.
I'm it.
Happy. And it's crazy to me that something we said, then made somebody hear something else and think about that, right? And when you get down to it, right, like I saw something today about like it's not as much about the food as the people at the meal.
Right.
Right. Like that kind of, especially in this weird year of transition back to being a single person in my 30s, the people are what's important, right? So, and even in explaining to people why I do a podcast, right? Which sounds,
right.
Let's be real, sounds kind of douchey when you're first like, sorry, I gotta go. I'm gonna go record my podcast. But then it's like, no, it's a good way for me to stay in touch with my friend, right? Like it's a way for us to connect and to share that with other people is great, and to have guests and to read a book together, right? And just these things that you know that I struggle with doing for myself from a self-care perspective.
Right.
And so, cuddling with a dog, right? That's important. Well, and I think sometimes
we put too much pressure to like fit into this mold of, what adults look like, or what you're supposed to be doing, or what dishes you're supposed to have, or what meals you're supposed to prepare. And, if you're like, well, I had nothing until 3 p.m. and then 4 croissants and a bottle of wine. Oh, I'm not adulting well. Well, I mean, you're still alive. Like, you're fine. You're good to other people. You let that douche in traffic. You're kind to your colleagues. Like, I love that. The human doings. Yeah, in human doings. Like, there's no rule about anything. And after my crazy moment today, I don't even know what being adult even is like anymore. I can't even understand.
There's no award to win for paying all your bills on time.
No.
Which is unfortunate. That also, I mean, it's also possible I got my water turned off this month because I forgot to pay my bill. Which
they're not fucking around when it comes to water, are they? Like, chill out.
It's May. I might have not paid this year.
Well, because maybe you should send me a bill for more than $30 and I'll address it.
Because snail mail is hard, and
Yeah.
because I thought I had it on auto pay, so I ignored the snail mail. But again, I fixed it within a day. It's fine. It was funny to me. I don't know. I used my
I think it's
bottled
funny.
water that I bought for a camping trip to make mac and cheese, and I was fine, you know? So I didn't take a shower that day. Sorry, everybody that sits near me at work. Like, I don't know. It just, you
And
can
if you
let
can't
those
find the
things
humor
bother
in it,
you, right?
yeah.
Exactly. You can feel like it's actually really interesting because I had a crappy meeting today, and then it's so easy to get on the slippery slope
Oh, totally.
of,
Like
and
this
I
day
don't
is
even like my
shit.
outfit today,
Yeah.
and I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing here,
Yeah.
and
Everything
like
sucks
I'm a
today.
shit show, right? But like, no, like I'm okay.
And that was fun. I am telling you, next to my mother, I'm my biggest fan because if you can turn anything into something that makes you laugh, you're, it is so much better. I can make anything,
Well, and
even
on one
terrible
hand,
things
yes,
funny.
like on one hand, I get it. Kristi, get it together, pay your bills. You have money, right? Like, get it together. But on the other hand, like, I don't know. It's just
Hey,
in the
it makes for
scheme
good
of
stories.
things, in
Yeah.
the scheme of things, right? How much does it really matter?
Well, what do you want to leave behind? I'm just going to make it all like super big. Like, what is if you not put any thought into this, that's fair. I didn't put it in the Google Doc, but when you're talking the grand scheme of things, which will be Quip, follow us on the next episode while we use Quip. Uh, I had that existential moment where I'm like, what am I giving back? Am I
I mean,
leaving
you're at least
art
leaving
behind?
behind a human.
I mean, if she makes it, she's been a real shit this week. I don't know. I'm gonna, and it's been so stressful on me because I want to kill her and I love her more than life itself. I'm like, I'm just
Mm.
gonna drive into the lake with both of us. Like, I can't deal. But I mean, there's this. But when I had that moment, I don't think I had her. But you have that moment of I know everybody has that moment of what's this for? Why am I here? What am I doing? And then you have to shake it off because you have to live every day, or you meditate on it for 10 minutes and then you wake the hell up and get ready for work. But
I don't know.
like,
Maybe it's okay. Maybe my legacy is being a good friend.
shoot, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, I
You
don't think
know,
I'm going to leave back some,
not going to be in a book unless you write a book.
well, and you will
Then
be.
I better be in it.
I feel like if nothing else, I just want to make the people in my world feel heard and feel happy and make people laugh. Like, if that's the only legacy I leave behind, sweet. Like, it
But
doesn't,
and again, I think that gets back to like that's hugging people, right?
yeah.
Or laughing and stopping and going to dinner with a coworker. And I don't know, just I feel like we worry more about the big things, but the more important things are the little things.
Yeah. Well, the days are long and the years are short, and you blink and it's 2 years have gone by when you fixated on that one bad day. Like, it is
Or a
important to just
year's,
be.
yeah, gone by that you've been single. And then you realize the people that have been there for you. You know, it's so funny. She isn't going to listen to this, but a friend of mine that has been a friend of mine for a while, not that sounded real judgy, but like she just doesn't have a reason to listen to me. But we were at a friend's. So after she really stepped up, right? She really was there for me after the divorce. And we were at a friend's. So that's again about a year ago, right? I actually lived with her and for a while. And not the person I would have thought, you
Oh,
know?
yeah, for sure.
And we were at a friend's house, one of her friends' houses the other day, and they were like, "How did you guys meet?" Or like, "How long have you been friends?" And we both kind of said, like, "I mean, we've been but we've been like friends for like a year, right?" So it's just interesting
It's
how
totally interesting. So,
it
have
just
you heard of the whole
evolves.
a friend for a season, a reason, or a lifetime?
Hell yeah.
Do you feel like you fall into one of those categories?
For
Or
her, for like with her,
or
or
do you think
for
you
in
like you
general?
fall into, and the reason I ask, of course I ask all leading questions because I want to talk about me, uh, is I am really, really good in times of
Mm,
crisis and in times of need. Like,
mhm.
even with an acquaintance, because I
Okay.
feel like somebody needs somebody, I will drop it. But after that, especially if it's just an acquaintance, sometimes like you either forge a really great friendship or your presence isn't as needed, but it's okay. So then I'm like, that's cool. I was a friend for a reason at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have, I have a handful, a few lifetime, but I've definitely been a reason and a season friend, not intentionally, but like I am the first to like make sure that someone feels supportive, even if like I'm not that close with them. I don't
I
know.
think it's
I
interesting.
want to.
I think I've had, I think the time that comes up to me is more in those transition periods, right? Where like maybe, like I had a seasoned friend who's really a lifetime friend, but that transition out of living in Texas and being besties and then moving away and having to realize like we talk maybe every 6 months, right? But she's still one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Like that kind of, I think the transition between those things is hard to let go of someone in a certain way or like evolve them to another piece of
Yeah.
that because the same person could be all three of those things along the
Totally.
way.
I felt that with work friends sometimes. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
about a couple work friends that I mean,
A hundo
they can
percent.
get into intimate details of my life, probably maybe even more than like a bestie, because you see them every day and you wander over to their cubicle and
I
like you feel
literally
like
went to
you're
dinner with my coworker tonight and talked about this. Like,
yes, like and now I don't see her as much. I adore her, but like we don't live near each other and it's kind of a pain in the ass. And if we want to get together for a beer, like it's far enough where it's kind of a pain in the ass Uber ride. But I mean, I definitely don't feel like any less close to her, but I
mm-hmm.
do miss that. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of her life right now. I don't know the last conversation she had with her husband or how, her one friend can bug her. And um, that kind of closeness you get with a coworker, I just freaking love. And it does go away when you stop working there. Even if you try to like keep it up, like it wanes.
Yeah, I went the wedding I went to in over New Year's was a former coworker, which was fun. But I have two work wives right now, right, that are um
Oh, I'm jealous.
like, in a season, right? We're delivering
Yeah.
this project and we're bitching with each other. We have a rule that we can bitch about people at lunch, but we can't like talk about work like solutioning during lunch.
Oh,
But I have lunch friends, right? Like, and it's just or even dinner friends sometimes,
huh.
right? And that's evolved to Instagram memes, right? And,
Yes.
um
Yes.
and
Your real
people
friends.
well, and sometimes you find people you like in situation like sometimes you're nice to work people because they're work people, but sometimes you find people that you actually like through work. Or
Yeah.
that's a thing, that's a really interesting thing about the Ohana, right? I've met people that I like in general that I happen to have met through Salesforce and I wouldn't have met any other way. And yes, they are Salesforce resources to me, but they're also genuine friends to me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like you say, like reason season, right? Like just to know how they play into my life.
Yeah. And I don't think reason, season, lifetime, I don't think any of them come with a negative connotation, but I have definitely seen, maybe because I've moved a handful here and there too, that, you do get a season, but I have noticed that when my heart aches for someone, like I want desperately to I'm like, what do you need? What can I be? I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna do that. I drop everything. I'm sending you money. Like I have a friend from junior high that I mean, this was like a couple of years ago, and I know the tumultuous relationship we had with her mom. Her mom had a lot of mental issues, a lot of undiagnosed mental issues that was really hard in the house. I think schizophrenia too. And then her mom died unexpectedly, and she like had no money and just wanted a headstone. And I was like, just love. I just sending her so much love and spending a lot of time talking to her and sending her money, which is like, I don't even know her world that much, but that was really important to me that she needed that. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay to be like, hey, sometimes I'm a season or a reason friend that I guess I want to put it out there that that doesn't come with a negative connotation. I think it's okay if the universe is like, hey, nudge, nudge, can you step up right here? Like this person needs someone right now. But like when they're done, they're gonna go back to their, their real world. And I'm like, cool,
Right.
I got you. I got time for this. Let's do
I can
this.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good. I have room
I'm
in my
stepping in.
schedule right now. Like, sure. Right.
Dude, I have a whole bag of shit that they probably need. Let's go do this. I mean, I'm the person that's like, I'm going to show up. Do we need cigarettes? Do we need to cry? Do we need to go for a walk? Do you need booze? What do
Yeah.
you need? I'm here.
What can I be for you? And I think it's interesting too because I think it's interesting to think about that. I don't want to be your platitudes friend, right? I don't want to be like, I'm sorry for your loss. What can I do? No, I want to be like, I'm coming with Taco Bell. What's happening? What do
Yeah.
you need? No, that you need nothing is bullshit. What do you need, right? Like,
Then I'm bringing everything. So,
yeah, right.
be
I'm
prepared.
coming anyway. So if I'm coming, can I bring you trash bags, right? Like, what do you need from Costco?
Yeah. I feel like we've surrounded ourselves like a lot with that. There's a lot of people in the Hana, obviously. But I think a lot of like energy tracks a lot of like energy. And then there's people that maybe aren't necessarily your vibe, but help you grow.
Mm,
But even for not having the person at the cubicle down the hall, I don't feel like I am lost. Like I talk to you all the time. I talk to the gift squad all the time. And I have colleagues too that we chit chat. And I have a friend, JP, that we send each other like Spotify songs and playlists all day. Or not, I mean, all day. We did like once or twice. Like,
but I think
I'm
that's a
just saying.
funny thing of like, you also have certain people who fit certain needs, right? Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
have certain
100%.
people who I talk about like dating and dick pics, right? And like that kind of friend level, aka Melinda. And some people who like don't want to talk about that, right? But they're great people to have brunch with,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like, so people fit
I mean,
certain pieces,
I agree. I don't think one person fits
can be
everything. And
all
if
the
they
things.
do, I mean, that's amazing.
Which
That's
I'm gonna
that's a
be
rarity.
real. That's why I feel like your husband can't be your best friend.
Oh
Or
yeah, we had that
like,
conversation. Yeah.
because like there's just different things you need from different people. I need different things from a boo face than I do
I
from
don't have just one. Like I
right.
have besties. I have multiple for many reasons. Like you said, like when I need to have like a smack in the face or a talking to, I have this friend. If I need someone to just be like, fuck them, you're amazing, I have those friends. I'm like, yes, that's exactly.
Pep talk friends.
Yes. Pep talk friends. So it's funny that you mentioned Glennon Doyle because she wrote Love Warrior. Did you ever read that?
Nope, didn't realize I was a woman.
Oh
10-4.
yeah. So her book, a girlfriend of mine, suggested it when I was living in California, and it was another one of those books I tore through in like 3 nights and underlined, and um, had moments where I was like, whoa, and then like did some like
This is
journaling,
me.
or just like it made you think about things. Of course I can't think of anything right now about it, but it was amazing. But I wonder, sometimes when you think about those books, like, is she like friends with Rachel Hollis? Is she friends with Brene Brown? I think Glennon Doyle is friends with like Brene Brown and who wrote Big Magic, Eat Pray Love, Elizabeth something. Yes. Anyways, like all of these amazing women
Elizabeth
authors that
Gilbert.
yes, that write these really great books, they all seem to like eventually gravitate to each other. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the best girl gang ever.
Well, I think it's funny because like, so basically is that like the MVP program of like women empowerment books?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Because I feel like that's where I see this the most, and I probably talked about it before, but like it's not that the MVPs, I think it's like that we're trying to hang out with just MVPs. I think it's just that there's a similar thread of passion and just personality that makes us relate to each other, and then you
Sure.
kind of find your squad, and then that's not that I don't want to hang out with other people, but if I only get to see them twice a year or once a year, those are the people I want to hang out, right? Like you and I,
Yeah.
not that we're not going to get together and talk to other people at Witness Success, but like we gonna hang out.
Yeah. Well, because I don't get to see you enough.
We got massages last year and it was great.
It was
like, so there's only so much time in the day. I would love to hang out with everybody and be
And
everything to everybody, but like,
I made such a promise to myself that I was like, I am so excited to go meet so much of the international community at Dream Olay. And I did.
mhm.
And I got to see Inez, and I didn't realize that I like met her a couple times in passing, and a bunch of other people that were awesome. But I did end up spending most time with Joshua and Carrie and Holly, because I'm like, oh, your faces, like I don't get to see you very often, and I already consider you a friend. Let's go to dinner. Let's spend some time. And especially in those smaller events, like I don't get that time at Dreamforce with any of those individuals I mentioned. We're
Right.
all way too. Even at TDX, I didn't get that enough time with Carrie. But it's small. We're all there. We're all in another country. Like we're probably going to be in the same city for at least 2 days, and it's just really chill. So I I totally get that. Like the time is limited, and I was like, we're having dinner twice. I mean, not in the same night. You know.
Okay, so this is the weird time within this episode where, we've been talking for maybe longer than Matt Bertuzzi would like, and we could certainly talk about this book, or do we like jump into Super Faves and wrap it up at a normal time and then like talk about the book later? Does that seem procrastinating? We've got a guest lined up for the next episode. So we're going to talk about the book for a while, but you didn't even finish the book. But you don't even need to finish the book to talk about the book. And now I've wasted a minute talking about,
We're going to talk about the book. I also reached out to another guest, and I'll tell you about afterwards, who's going to be amazing, like, I don't know, into June. I didn't finish it, if I'm going to be real honest, because that's what we are on this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed. I enjoyed her writing. I enjoyed her honesty. But
just to level set, Rachel Hollis, girl, watch your face.
And you can just pick it up. It's almost like Choose Your Own Adventure. You could just open up any chapter, because she lays out the chapters as in a lie I've been told, or a lie I told myself. Here's a personal experience in it, and here's how I overcame it. And it even has like bullet pointed action items after, which someone like me loves. Like, oh my God, I love it. Things that help me, like 1, 2, and 3. It's amazing. But I will not be arrogant to say like I didn't relate to this. I'm in a different place than some of these chapters. So I think that I struggled a little bit with like when I have read Who Moved My Cheese, or when I read even 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or any of my Brene Brown books, I think I was in a different headspace. And it was easy to absorb and resonate with them. And this one, there was a couple chapters that I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't resonate at all with like, my husband is the first man I dated, never slept with. And I was like, not for this trollop over here. Nope. Don't resonate with that. But like what you talked about, I feel like a bad mom. I was like, oh girl, yes. Oh my God. You always feel like a failure. So I guess there was a part of me that kind of felt like a dick for not like resonating with every subject or every chapter.
Because I read it through again, kind of put on my post-its in after I had read it the first time. And I think, there's something you can identify with, right? So we kind of talked about the goal for the whole book is like, we've kind of got these lies perpetuated by society, the media, whatever it might be, and we don't even really hear them anymore.
Right.
Just certain things that we just take for granted. And she's got some great scenarios. Like you say, some chapters may not apply as much, but even in the things that helped me section that she's got at the end of kind of overcoming, I think is really powerful, and just to get you thinking about things. But I definitely think in a book like this, you're going to bookmark a certain chapter or two more than others. So for you, it's parenting related. For me, it's I'm defined by my weight. That's the chapter that I found the most bookmarks in, right? And the key for that was the idea from her of you need to be healthy. You don't need to be thin. You don't need to be a certain size or shape. You need to be able to run without feeling like you're going to puke. You need to be able to walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded, right? Like, get out of that fog you've been living in. See your life for what it is, right? So again, those are the things that I highlighted in the book.
Yeah.
But and then you look at the end of that chapter, and two of the things that resonated with me are mantras, which is kind of interesting. I feel like you can kind of jokingly talk about. Do you remember that Stuart Smalley thing where it's like,
I'm pretty
"I'm
and goddamn if people like
this,
me. I'm a big
yes,
mantra believer,
gosh
so
darn it," right? So part of it is that, and then the other piece is preparation, which I think is really interesting because there's a lot of times where I could go for a walk, but I didn't plan enough time. Or I would eat at home, but I didn't go to the store, right? And thinking about future you and like the impact of your decision now to sit on the couch and scroll through Instagram and how that impacts future you and the future decisions that you're going to be able to make, right? You
interesting.
have to prepare yourself to be kind to your future self. And I think that sometimes plays the opposite way, right? Like sometimes you have a shitty day at work and you get home and you're like, I was feeling real healthy when I went shopping and I have nothing right now that will let me eat my feelings,
Yeah.
but
Side
if
note, I'm a feelings eater. Didn't realize that until this week.
mm, yeah, that's I literally told my coworker like I'm going to go eat my feelings at Taco Bell. Would you like to come? Um So, in general, I think we talked about Rise, which is this event that Rachel Hollis and her team coordinate, which is in LA, which I think will be really interesting. Um, it sometimes I hesitate on like the girl power front, right? Like I don't want to be successful because and I'm a girl, right? Like I don't want it to be an asterisk.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like just that feeling of even women in tech, right? Like sometimes people are like, why do we need to have women in tech? And it's like because every other dude is white guys in tech. Like not really, but I don't know. It's a weird balance of focusing on the girl power versus focusing on general power.
Yeah. I love that shit. You know I do. Like I'm all rah rah, like trust falls. Let's do that shit. Now I didn't used to be. It was a lot more, which is funny. It's kind of the reverse of I think what comes with age. It's a lot more cynical younger. Like I don't need any of that crap. But I think that was a lot of my insecurities, like I don't need anyone kind of thing. And then you realize that like having a squad or a village is actually the most powerful and most amazing thing, that I'm like, yes, like I want to go to all those. And that Rise event really looked like, kind of a pseudo witness success, like
Mm-hmm.
supporting women in general and their creativity and their women being awesomeness. And we just realized it too late. Like we couldn't make it turn around, but we
Right.
are 100% going next year.
So I will say one of the things that really resonated with me, and I think kind of ties into a lot of what we talk about in general, is this chapter about something else will make me happy and how
Yes.
that's a lie and a fallacy.
Yes.
And one of the things that helped me, it talks about I figured out what makes me happy and I do those things. And I think that's
Done.
like
Period.
right what we've been talking about with adulting and humaning, like um, what I think is the idea that she talks about that it's got to be very intentional, right? Like, I mean that you should spend more time doing things that feed your spirit, more long walks with the dog, less volunteering for that thing you feel obligated to do, but actually hate. You are in charge of your own life, sister, and there's not one thing in it that you are not allowing to be there. Think about it. And I think what's really interesting about her perspective is how much it's about control, right? Like
Right.
you are perpetuating certain ideas in your life, and really, like, the truth of the whole book, like, the point is that you are ultimately responsible for who you become and how happy you are.
Yeah. Like, are you
And
happy having the time of your life and not working? Cool. Then own that. Are you happy
if
working
you could
80
do
hours,
that,
but that works for you? Like, awesome. Because she talks about loving her work and feeling
mm-hmm.
like an asshole because she's not spending time with her husband or her kids. And I struggle with that. I mean, I think I told you that it was some silly years ago Grey's Anatomy episode that kind of opened my eyes because Meredith is dropping off the kiddo Zahara to Callie.
Zola.
Zola, is it
I
Zola?
love that I'm correcting you. It's Zola, this fictional
Not Zahara.
character.
I think that's my
Named
girlfriend's daughter.
Zola is her
Zahara is my
adopted
girlfriend's daughter's name. That's right.
child. Okay.
But she was like being all angsty about it. And Kelly was like, no, you get to work. Show her. And I was like, so I have always made that thing in my head. I try not to ever tell, oh, I have to work. Mommy has to work. I always try and tell her I get to. I want to work on this thing. I get to work. But I mean, like you were saying, like, if you can make that work in your life, that you get to work 60 hours a week and you love that and you don't feel that you've given up something, then just own it.
And that you're not doing it because of some lie that you've internalized that you should.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've definitely talked about shoulding on yourself, right?
Sure.
And I think a lot of what she talks about goes back to that, right? Is just that intent. Stop comparing yourself.
Comparison is the thief of joy. It's one of my new mantras, along with
also
patience, empathy, and kindness.
Also being honest with yourself, right? And I struggle a lot with this. Like, before we're doing this podcast, I had an hour. And it's like, I can lay on my bed and chat with boys on Tinder for an hour. And let's be real, I did that for half an hour. But then I installed my AC unit in my window before we met because I had time. And we always say we don't have time for anything, but it's really
I try not to do that
making time for. And so it's tough that it really is that intentional, because I think in utopia it would be effortless.
Yeah.
And it's not, right? Living with intention is not effortless.
No.
And it's hard, and you're going to fail, right? Which is basically the point of the book, right? All these stories are like, I know this, but I failed real hard, and here's how I did, but here's how I got out of it, right? And one of those things is going to therapy. I think 2 of them in 2 chapters, it's talking about going to therapy. So I don't think it's about projecting a Pinterest-worthy life. I think it's about being real, but also being honest with yourself and your reasons or lack thereof for doing things. I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that I took 2 naps on Sunday.
No.
But
how long did you beat yourself up prior? Like you said, like the shitting. One of the passages I really liked when she talked about writing her book, and she had that bracelet made with the 82,311 because she was writing a second book and was, kind of down on herself about managing her time and yada yada. And she had to remember, hey, I wrote 82. It was her words, right? Or
word count from the first book.
I wrote that. Like, that's what I did. Like, just remember the things that you have accomplished, and just remember that, you went to work all week and accomplished being present. So 2 naps on a Sunday, go for it.
And maybe that's okay, right? Like, that's, as long as that's not every day of your life, right? Like, as long as you're accomplishing things you need to do and you're working
if I was your best life, granted or inherited millions of dollars, Mom, I'm talking to you, Mom, just saying, then maybe I take 2 naps every day and drink champagne. Like, that's me living my best life.
I'm so happy that there's champagne in this story.
Terrell Ann, I'm talking to you. Would like to inherit my millions. Thanks.
Right.
Billions. Billions. I said that wrong.
Yeah. Wrong letter. I think I definitely have been in like the year of not shoulding on myself. Yes. And I think I've gone almost too far the other way. And so I need to kind of find that middle ground, which is possible. Right.
But I'm a pendulum swinger too.
But there's a reason, a season, and a lifetime for me to figure out my life too. So
there's nothing to figure out. Just be. And maybe that's good advice to take for myself for this BHAG. Like, I don't need to have that. Like, I am quite content. I mean, do I want to
unless that's what motivates you?
It is. I mean, and just being real honest is I don't want to be a number at a really big corporation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not within like Blue Wolf and my team. I feel like my thoughts matter and my place matters. And I'm not saying that I need to matter. I need to, be at the CEO's table every day. It's just more of a, I want to feel part of the bigger plan. And I think with a
Mm-hmm.
big company, I don't feel like that's going to happen. I don't know that. Yeah. So I was talking to a recruiter this week,
I feel like when you say that, it
because,
makes me think like you're looking for another job.
well, and I was, so randomly, it was kind of like,
I mean, are you going to say this and record it?
no, it's fine. Like it's not like I'm looking some it was kind of a weird happening. Like the transfer of business started happening and everyone gets, LinkedIn emails like, "Hey, I found this position that would be great for you." But I got a couple direct emails about, kind of a no-name company, but from two of the like Hire on Demand and Hire Force are those really great
Mm-hmm.
companies for us. And Hire on Demand is the one that placed me at Telligis with Guillermo. And she emailed me about something, and I was like, I'm not sure about that, but let's just chat so I know what's out there. And I guess I want to make sure that, resume's up to date and I brush up on my interview skills and what's changed in the year. I'm not going anywhere, but especially like during the summer, this is the first time my kids actually been out of like, I don't have like childcare or school, so I'm not even sure what my life looks like for the summer. I have a little things planned for her, but not a ton. I don't have full time care.
No camps.
I mean, like a half day one in June, but I, again, and I'm not unhappy. I'm just restless. So we ended up chatting, and it was definitely one of those moments, a small epiphany, because I was like, I don't know, like, why am I taking this call? I'm walking into the dentist. I don't really want this. Like, I'm not going to go get a new job right now. Like, that's not what I want to do. I'm content. But as we were talking, and that's what I love about these companies is I don't need to put on airs. Like, hey, I'm not looking right now. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I want to make. And bleh. Like, it's real easy. So as we're talking, and I was like, oh, do I move into the next like role? Is it a C-suite? Is it a director? Do I help lead a company, a team to do a thing? And she was like, well, I don't know. I mean, I really need some more information, like your resume.
Is that what you want?
Yeah. And I was like, it was kind of just talking about it as I was on the phone with her, and she was very sweet about it. But I said, I don't know, is that, I said, here's, likes and dislikes. And she had said, it's a climate out there. People will call and say, hey, I'm not unhappy. I'm just kind of seeing what's out there. She's like, there's no harm in it. And I said, no, there's not. It's a really odd place to be in because I am still very content and very happy with where I am. I'm just concerned, I guess. I've been part of a purchase before, and it's
It's a forward-looking statement.
Yeah, like, should I make sure that I am proactively making sure that I know what I want and what's out there in case shit goes awry? It may not. And maybe IBM is amazing, and it's a big company that's been around for a long time, and people that work for them are very happy. They've been there for like umpteen years. So maybe I just need to see what makes them so happy. Blue Wolf was a really big,
or wash your face. Sorry,
or wash my face. Well, Blue Wolf was like the company I fell in love with as a brand new admin. So to be able to be part of it, and then in a year for them to be like, but we're IBM, I just wanted to be like, no, I just got here.
I'm a Wolfian.
I know. And they say that, like we still have our division of business. And, that's what we hear is why we were purchased, is because we have an expertise in this market.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's in a very transitional period.
Changes. So we're human adults who are
When did I become the adult in the room? I just
doing
don't
the
get
best
it.
we can, and that's okay. That's the too long didn't read. Didn't listen?
Huh.
For this episode. Too long didn't read? You don't know
Wait,
that's
I
a
know
thing?
this. What is that? Why do I know this?
TLDR? I mean, that's from like basically like on a Reddit or whatever, or in an email.
Yes,
right?
it's
Like,
been a long time since I've referenced that, though. Like,
oh, really? It's like the synopsis of the whole thing, right? Like, if you don't want to read this whole thing, here's the gist.
oh my
Gist
God,
of this
my life
episode.
is too long. Didn't read.
Stop it.
I mean, in
That
general,
was a
I'm like, this is too long. I'm not reading it.
no. Oh, that's what you do. Not that your life is not important and worth
God, no.
reading. Okay. I was like, that's a little existential for this podcast.
No, I meant like,
I mean,
if it is over 3 sentences, I'm like, I can't.
yes. No. So the too long didn't listen for this episode is stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be.
Amen, sister.
And stop shitting on yourself.
No shitting.
And be a friend to people for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Word. Nice synopsis. What's your super fave?
So, have I ever?
Let me get my wine. Hold on.
Speaking of adulting, have you ever had that like errand or something that you just needed to do and it just bothered you?
Yeah, like every fucking day.
Like that Christmas gift box that I still haven't sent to Melinda Smith in May. Yeah. Like that's a thing.
She sounds like a drag.
So my super fave is my friend with a truck who helped me take care of one of those things. He came by and helped me return a vanity that I purchased that I didn't need. And then he was going to try and help me pick up the outdoor furniture that I wanted, except it didn't fit in his truck bed. So then I had to rent a truck, but they didn't have a truck, but then they did have a truck, blah, 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 blah. Patience, friendship. He helped me get it off the truck in my house. I haven't put it together yet, but I own it. And so basically I like borrowed a boyfriend for a day.
That's perfect.
And it was super great. And then we went and had beer.
That's perfect.
It was great. So I'm super thankful for Patrick Ryder and or my boyfriend for a day who helped me with his truck. Man with truck.
Man with truck. I think they have those. Was it here in California?
Like, you can rent a truck at Home Depot. Oh yeah, that's a moving company. You also can rent a truck from Home Depot for 75 minutes for $20. In case you were curious,
I love that.
And
plan.
You needed a pickup truck to move your furniture.
I always need a pickup truck.
What's your super fave, Melinda Marie?
So the first 1 to 3 days in Spain, we were drinking some local beers, which are okay. I mean, in the red stripe vein. I get that we are craft beer snobs. It was all right. And then it dawned on me like day 3 or 4. I was like, what? What is... Duh. And we started drinking, Spanish wine like a smart person does. So a lot of Verdejos and Albareños. And you could get the most amazing like house white for like $4. So that's the kick. It is the Albareños, Verdejos, yummy bottles of Spanish white wine that are just like, they're really great for summer. And that's it.
I'm a white wine fan. You know it. So my other super fave is this quote that I saw that turned out to be from a book from like forever ago, but it was just a really interesting kind of mindfuck, but also it's from this book, One, No One, and 100,000. And the idea was a different version of you exists in the mind of everyone who knows you.
Oh my God. Yes.
There are 1,000 different versions of yourself out there in people's minds. And that just really struck me because I think I'm something, you think I'm something else, and everyone listening thinks I'm a different thing. And
yeah, talk about Inception. Personality.
But also just that idea, right, of like, to me it translates to like when you're at the gym and you're doing your thing and you're thinking about it and you think everyone else is watching you, but maybe they are, but maybe they aren't. But like other people have perceptions of you or themselves or blah, 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 right? Or maybe it's that one person who's only ever listened to the podcast and hasn't met you in person and what their perception is of us versus people who have met us but never listened to the podcast versus the dude on Tinder who I just told that I do a podcast. Does that sound douchey? I don't know. Oh. He's only had 5 minutes to form an opinion of me, right?
Yeah.
But there is an opinion of me that exists in his mind, and that's a version of me. It was just a really interesting, kind of got me thinking about how I think about myself versus how other people think about me. And I don't know if you've ever done this, like when you had to do a resume or a dating profile or something, and you like poll your friends for ideas.
I 100% have done that. Yeah.
What are my strengths? Like what? Yeah. Yes. Right. And people tell you, and you're like, oh, you knew that, right? You're like, or
Yeah,
just
and that's the light and bright
I come
version.
across like I have it together, like I don't know, just the idea of how other people think of you versus how you think of yourself. And I think that all kind of ties into imposter syndrome and all kinds of things.
sure.
But I just found it really interesting, especially because this book that it's from is from like, I'm trying to be really quick on this Wikipedia link that I posted. It's from 1926.
Shut up.
And yet it translated into a meme that I saw that resonated with me in 2008.
I notice it mostly when someone notices something that I would consider maybe a negative trait that I don't. Like, and I will always remember this. Now, this was not a glorious time in my life. I have some dark corners. Dark corners in the past. We'll talk about that later. Someone had said to me at a bar, I was making jokes about something. My friend was the bartender. And he had said, you are boisterous and loud to cover up your insecurities. And I remember being so fucking insulted. But I mean, that is an extreme example. But like when you have a friend that will say something like, "Oh yeah, like you're totally dramatic." I'm like, really? But it plays into it because I am high strung as fuck for sure. But I feel like I'm easygoing. So when you have a friend that tells you, you're kind of dramatic or you're high strung. I'm not using the right words here. It definitely takes you a moment where you're like, wait, what?
Well, and like you say, you might originally be insulted, but then you kind of get thinking about it.
And it's not always bad. It feels weird at the time.
I remember at one time I said something about we got free tickets to an event, and I said something, and my ex was like, maybe you shouldn't mention that because other people paid to come. And certain things where you don't realize how you're coming across. Like I'm saying something not intentionally to be insulting or to be whatever, but how other people perceive. Maybe and I'm thinking of this even in the positive. But maybe there are different versions of me that people have in their head, and I'm a bitch. Maybe it's the person that I talked to today when I was mad on this meeting call, and I was like, "You're dumb." Like I didn't say that really, but like maybe it's the person that I had a moment with, and I wasn't my best self in that moment because I'm not perfect by any fucking stretch.
Well, and if you don't interact with them a lot, like you said, they have this personality, this version of you.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like anyone who's ever tried to talk to me at maybe Dreamforce or a world tour or something where they're trying to like love me, and I'm like, I have 50 places to be. I don't have enough time to pay attention to you, or I forgot your name or whatever, right? Like, and in that moment, they might think I'm an asshole, but I'm not trying to be an asshole, but maybe there's asshole versions of me out there, but that doesn't mean that I'm not okay as a human, right? Like my version of me is still
it's a personality inception because you can be, people in general are multifaceted. So how you see yourself, I guess, and like it goes back to the book too, like I guess ultimately it boils down to if people have different versions of you in their head, then really what matters is how you see yourself and how you feel about your every freaking day.
Fuck everyone else. Just kidding. That's not the gist of the book. Sorry.
Fuck everyone else. My other super fave is boring. It's almost summer, and it just makes me fucking happy.
Except that it's hot and my air conditioning is out. What is happening?
I sat outside in the sun in like long workout pants this morning after my worked out. Josh was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I just need to be warmer." He's like, "Warmer?" He's like, "You just worked out. It is sunny outside." I'm like, "I'm not warm enough. I need to be warmer." I love it. The heat, oh my God, it just makes me come alive. I just want to be outside.
I mean, there is something about spring and summer about a social perspective, especially again, coming up my first year as a single person. There's definitely like hibernation during the winter is quite different when you're hibernating with a dog instead of a dog and a human, right? So there is definitely something for like getting more, what are you up to kind of text, right? Because people are out and about.
It is drinking weather. I mean, let's just put it out there.
Yes.
And why can't I just be on summer break but still make my normal monies? I want to do nothing.
I mean, because you're waiting for your inheritance from your mom.
Terrell Ann, this is for you. Inherit my billions.
And on that note, stay
You
witty.
say witty. I thought you were pointing me to do it.